Calculus kids, this is Dr. Callahan. How are you guys doing? Welcome to week 9 Thursday. Here are your questions for your warm-up. Question number 3 says, find h prime of t. How did Dr. C get to this answer? Remember we talked about how to find the derivative, which sometimes is not really necessarily difficult, but trying to match your answer to the answer that's provided in the alphabet or in the multiple choice sometimes can be a little bit challenging, especially if you're not quite sure how to manipulate it algebraically. So pause the video and go ahead and give that a try. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So as I look at this, h of t is ln t over t. There's nothing I can do to maybe collapse the fraction into just one term, so I cannot avoid the quotient rule. So let's go ahead and set everything up and see where it gets us. So my numerator is going to be f, so that's ln t. So f prime is 1 over t. G is going to be the denominator, just t, g prime is 1, and then g squared is just t squared. So again, like the quotient rule is not difficult. It's just trying to manipulate this and simplify it to a format that matches the alphabet, or excuse me, that matches the multiple choice. I don't know why I keep saying alphabet. All right, so then h prime of t is equal to f prime times g minus f times g prime over g squared. So first I have f prime times g. So that's 1 over t times t. And that is going to give me just 1. Hold on a second, just to make sure. Yeah, that makes 1. Yeah, 1 over t times t. So that's just going to give me 1. Minus, next part that I have is going to be f times g prime. So ln t times 1 over g squared, so t squared. And that's just it. I actually anticipated this to be a whole lot longer, but really that was actually quite simple. It didn't really require much of anything, really. That was kind of a wasted question. Sorry about that. I'm like, wow, okay, well, there you have it. That's it. Don't worry, we'll have plenty of other more complicated questions today. So, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll have plenty of other things to keep you guys occupied. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Actually, you know what? There is a really good question that I would like to go over with you guys. And I'm gonna maybe take a moment to set this question up, which actually this question is a much better one than the previous one that we went over. It's okay, next year I will use this one instead. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So here you have f of x equals ln x, f prime of x is 1 over x, as we know. So your goal here is to find the derivative of ln cosine of 5x. So we have ln, we have a chain with a trig function, and a chain inside of a chain, which is a little bit crazy. So I'm going to say, let u be this inside part right here, cosine 5x. I'm going to have that be u. Okay, then I know that u prime, derivative of cosine is negative sine, so negative sine 5x times the other derivative. This is the other chain. Derivative of 5x is going to be 5. So I can simplify u prime. And again, you always want to simplify everything before you plug it back into the original equation because it's going to make everything complicated if it's not simplified. Negative 5 sine 5x. Okay, so then let's go ahead and take a look. I want to get rid of that. How do I get rid of this? Come on, go away. Okay, maybe it's not going to go away. Okay, go away. There we go. That way I can change my pen color. Y prime equals, remember, you decided to go ahead and change this. So you do not have ln of u anymore. Oh, oh my goodness, what just happened here? Okay, I'm so sorry. Let's go ahead and try this one more time. So I'm gonna have u equals cosine 5x, u prime equals -5 sine 5x. Okay, so now we're back to this. Y equals ln. We're gonna replace this entire thing with u, ln u. So you know y prime is just 1 over u times u prime. Well, that looks simple enough. 1 over u is going to be 1 over cosine 5x times, you have the u prime, which is right here, times -5 sine 5x. So I want to go ahead and simplify this. So I have a -5 sine 5x times the 1, which is just itself, over cosine 5x. Now, you could decide to go ahead and keep it like this way, but on a multiple choice question, they might not actually have it because using your trig identity property, you can go ahead and rewrite them. And you should notice that sine over cosine is always going to be tangent. So I'm going to rewrite it as 5 tangent 5x, and that is your first derivative. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our breakdown for today. Today, we're going to specifically look at things like E of U, ln U, and A of U. So that will cover the remaining part of all the formulas that we have not really looked at as much. And remember, do not forget your week 9 assessment, which is on AP College Board. If you're having any difficulty accessing that because we talked about it, now they're putting a lock, a security lock on it for some reason, just please email me and I can go ahead and forward you the PDF, or you can go to MS Team. It's also posted on MS Team with a PDF. And remember, your quiz is always due a week from that day. So Tuesday by 11 p.m., 17 questions, multiple choice. All right, go ahead and turn over to your notes today. Today is week 9, Thursday. So make sure you get to that page. This is your page number 1. This is going to be some of the questions from your textbook. And it is just a compilation of chain, product, quotient rule, trig derivatives, anything with ln, and etc. Actually, I don't have ln here, so that's good. Finding the second derivatives. And here is a link to the video. If you need to go ahead and check your answers, you can fast forward it, you can go ahead and backtrack it, whatever it is that you need to do. Here are some of the answers of the more difficult questions. I thought number 30 was a little bit rough because of the fact you have a chain, but in addition to a chain, you do also have a quotient rule right there. So take a look at that. And then on the right side, I have 2 questions from the free response questions that you can go ahead and practice with. All right, and there is actually one more thing that you need to do, which is your page 3, and you should have this page right here, which it totally did not go to that. So let's go down. Here we go. So up to this part, we have gotten to the derivatives of all the trig functions. We have not talked about the inverse derivative, mainly because there is a skill set there that you cannot do until the second semester when we get into integrals, and we will do the integrals of inverse along with the derivative of inverse next semester. So yeah, right now you don't have to worry about that. Today we're going to cover a to the x, or a to the u, e to the u, log, and ln u. So those are the 4 remaining ones that we will be covering. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so take that page and go ahead and fill the following 4 boxes out. E to the u is pretty simple. It's just e to the u times u prime. ln is opposite. It's the inverse of e to the u. So it's just 1 over u times u prime. So pretty simple overall. And then you have a new one, which is a to the u. So a to the u is going to equal to a to the u ln a times u prime. I know you're like, what? that's actually quite, I mean, there's like no rhyme or reason why that is, but that's just the formula, unfortunately. So make sure you memorize that one. And then log. Notice that the log has a sub a on the bottom. So log a to the u, because remember, this formula only applies to x only. Okay, anything else that's like x squared or 2x or x to the 1/2 or square root of x, you cannot use that formula. You will have to use u. So log sub a of u is equal to 1 over u ln a times u prime. All right, so now make sure you guys grab a separate piece of paper and we're going to go ahead and do some practices using these 4 things. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and have you guys read this part and kind of contemplate about these questions. All right, let's go ahead and practice with this. So if you were in class, we will be doing a quizzes on this material, but because you're not in class, we're going to go ahead and just kind of practice it together and try to figure it out. Now, remember the first one, and a lot of times you might just want to go ahead and match it. If you look at the first question right here, you have y equals 5 to the 7x. Well, that kind of reminds me of a to the u, and the derivative of that is going to be a to the u ln a times u prime. And so you kind of want to match it. So you can see that your a is going to be 7, or 5, sorry, and then your u is going to be 7 prime. And you know that your u prime is going to be just 7. So now that you have a equals 5, u equals 7x, and u prime equals 7, you just plug all of these informations into this awesome little formula, and you should get this right there. So that was a pretty easy one, just kind of warming it up. Okay, let's take a look at number 3. Number 3, I pretty much gave you the answer, but go ahead, pause the video, and try that one. And while you guys are doing that, I need to go ahead and modify a few things because I just noticed I just showed you guys the answers all the time. And not that I don't want to show you guys the answers, but definitely want to make sure that you guys get the benefit of not having the answers initially. So while you guys are still working on that, I'm just going to go ahead and, don't mind me, just go ahead and fix this. And multitask. Okay, so let's get back to this then. Sorry about that little intermission. Okay. I think we're good now. All right, cool. So looking at this right here, you're gonna ask yourself, okay, what does this remind me of? Well, you know you're gonna use the E, but then at the same time, you're gonna have to use. So then let's take a look at this. We're gonna have this part be the F, this part be the G. So the f is going to be f 5x squared. F prime is 10x. G is e to the 3x. G prime equals, remember, e to the u times u prime. That's going to be your u. So e to the 3x times 3. Or, better yet, 3e to the 3x. So then, we're going to go ahead and do the product rule, which is f prime times g plus f times g prime. So f prime times g is going to give you a 10x e to the 3x plus f times g prime. The 5 and the 3 gives you a 15x squared e to the 3x. Now, if you look at your answers here, it looks like they factor something out because everything's in a parenthesis. So let's do the same. Well, between a 10 and a 5, you can take out a 5. Between an x and an x squared, you could take out an x. And between e to the 3x, e to the 3x, you can take e to the 3x out. So what remains is a 2 plus a 3x. And if you look at it, which one does it match? I think that one, except you just have to flip the 3x with a 2 for the commutative property. And that's your answer. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Here you go. If you have y equals log sub 9 to the x, immediately I know that y prime is going to be the log derivative, which is going to be, and if you memorize this, it is, remember, log sub a of u is equal to 1 over u ln a times u prime. So immediately I'm like, okay, that's not my answer. And it's either the last three. So now what I want to do is I want to match this. I know that my a is the 9, and I know that my u is the x right there. So now that I have these information, and I also need the u prime, so u prime equals 1, I can take that information and plug it into this equation here, which will give me y prime is equal to 1 over u, which is 1 over x, times ln a, ln 9, times 1. So if I simplify that, it's just 1 over x, ln 9. And which one does it match? I believe it matched that one right there. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. All right, so looking at this one right here, it's a little bit different. You now have a chain in here besides just an x. So I know that this is another log one. So remember the formula is log a of u is equal to the derivative. The derivative is going to be 1 over u ln a times u prime. So once again, we're going to go ahead and try to match everything together. So my a is going to be 8. And then my u is going to be 3x. And then, of course, my u prime is going to be 3. And now that I have these components, let's go ahead and plug into the formula. So my y prime is equal to 1 over u, which is 3x, ln a, so ln 8, times 3. So if I simplify this, you can see that the answer doesn't have 3's on top and bottom, and because they're multiplied, you can actually cancel the 3 on top and the bottom. So I have a 1 on top, x ln 8. So which one does that match? I believe it matched this one right here. And that is correct. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Y equals ln 5x squared. So this is going to be the ln u derivative. So y prime for ln u. So if y equals ln u, then y prime is going to be 1 over u times u prime. So once again, you know that your u is going to be 5x squared. So just on the side, I'm going to say let u be 5x squared. Then u prime is going to be 10x. So now that I have these components, I'm going to plug it back into this equation. Y prime equals 1 over u is 1 over 5x squared times u prime, so times 10x. Well, that's the same thing as 10x over 5x squared. So you can go ahead and cancel the 10 and the 5, which gives you a 2. You can also cancel the x and the x squared, which gives you 1x in the bottom. So you're left with y prime equals 2 over x. Oh my gosh, and okay, let's see. Okay, I didn't cover it. I was like, what? I don't see the answer. That would be A, and that would be correct. All right, so let's continue on with this. Find the derivative. So y equals, and this one you're going to use the ln u formula again. So y prime is ln u times, or I'm sorry, 1 over u times u prime. So with this one, you're going to go ahead and notice that there's a 3 in the front. And remember, like I said before, if it's just a 3 and there's no x and there's no square with it, you can actually just leave the 3 in the front. And if you want to try to use the product rule, you'll notice that, remember, it's f prime times g minus f times g prime. Well, because there's a minus right there, the 3 derivatives become 0. So 0 times the g is just going to eliminate the whole thing. So that's why you just keep the 3 there by itself. However, if it was like, let's say a 3x, then unfortunately you would have to do the product rule because you won't be able to eliminate it then. So just leave that as is. And on the side, we're going to say let, and if you take a look at this, remember here is u. Your u is x squared minus 3. So let u be x squared minus 3. Then u prime is 2x. So I'm going to plug that back over here to this formula. Y prime equals 1 over u times u prime. And unfortunately with this one, that's different from the last one, is you can't cancel this x with the x squared because this x squared is minus a 3. So unless it's like a product and it's factored out, you can't just eliminate it. So your answer is just 2x over x squared minus 3. And I don't see the answer here. Why don't I see the answer? Well, let's see which one is the answer. How do you get a 6? I think there's a typo with this one because I can't for the life of me figure out how you actually. Oh, duh. Of course there's a 6. Okay, there's a 6 because I made a huge faux pas. I forgot that there was a 3 in the front. So remember there's a 3 in the front. And I told you just leave it in the front right there. Yeah, well, leave in the front doesn't mean forget it. So y equals 3 times 2, 6x over x squared minus 3. So it would be this one. Yeah, let's not make that mistake like I did. That would be bad on the test. Okay, now let's take a look at this question here. You have a square root, so already I don't like it. So f of x equals, and there's an ln, so that makes me like it even less. ln x cubed minus 5x to the 1/2. Okay, so we're gonna say, and I don't know how this is actually gonna work because this looks pretty complicated. Let's just say let u be x cubed minus 5x to the 1/2. Then u prime equals, I'm going to bring that 1/2 down, minus 2 over 2, because that's a 1. So it's a negative 1/2. Times, don't forget the chain of inside the parenthesis. Derivative of 3x, I'm sorry, x cubed is 3x squared. Derivative of negative 5x is a negative 5. And I need to go ahead and simplify that because algebraically that looks really ugly. So 1 times 3x squared minus 5 is just 3x squared minus 5. On the bottom, you have a 2x cubed minus 5x to the 1/2. So that's your u prime. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the f of x. So I have f of x is equal to ln u. So then f prime of x is going to be 1 over u times u prime. So let's convert everything back. 1 over u is 1 over, and again, I should have used a different color because remember, this is u. Don't get confused with a minus 2 over 2. So 1 over x cubed minus 5x to the 1/2 times u prime. U prime is this part right here. So 3x squared minus 5 over 2 times x cubed minus 5x to the 1/2. And yay, we almost have a perfect denominator. Or actually, you know what? I don't need the denominator. Just kidding. I'm not adding, I'm multiplying. So I don't care about the denominator. But I can't combine this together. Because it's multiply like this, I am able to add the two together. And if you don't believe me, remember exponent rules of product or power of a product rule is like a to the second power times a to the third power. You just simply add them together. So I'm going to have a 1/2 times a 1/2, which is a 2 over 2. So then my f prime is going to be x cubed minus 5x to the 1 power, okay, because 1/2 plus 1/2 is 2 over 2, which is 1. Don't forget the 2 right there, so I'm going to put the 2 in the front. 1 times the numerator is going to give me 3x squared minus 5. And of course, you can distribute the 2. So you have a 2x cubed minus 5x, which looks like this one right here. And you just bring that 3x squared minus 5 over. And ta-da, there's your answer. All right, you guys, so I'm going to show you guys a few more other ones that you can just practice right now on your own. So pause the video and try this one out. Here is another one. And actually, I would like to try this one with you guys because this is an interesting one. So I'm going to say that I'm going to let u be 5x plus ln x. So then u prime is going to be derivative of 5x is just 5. Derivative of ln x is 1 over x. So then if I rewrite this, y equals e to the u. So then y prime will be e to the u times u prime. So that looks simple enough, but then you have to revert everything back by substituting it back with a u sub. So y prime equals e to the u. E to the u is 5x plus ln x times u prime. U prime is, and here's where you're going to use brackets and parentheses, 1 over x. Huh, yeah, except your answer does not include it. Or maybe it does. No, I think it does. Actually, they made this pretty easy. I think it's C right there. You actually did not have to distribute it and then combine it together. So that was actually pretty simple. Okay, but that's a good one to try. Here's another one right here. F of x is ln parenthesis x times e to the 7x. So give that a try. This one you don't have to worry about because we have not done the inverse yet. So I'm just going to skip this one. Okay, and then we are done with the practice. So now what I want you guys to do is, of course, do more practice. What is life without doing more practice of calculus? So go ahead and practice with these ones. If you need the answers or the video to show you how to do them from the textbook, this is a link, so you can go ahead and do that. All right, so now what I want you guys to do is just a quick little reflection SEL process that I did with my other seniors in Prob and Stats. So today is last night, how many hours did you sleep? I believe that it's awesome that you guys are in calculus, but you also need to learn how to take care of yourself. So, just a few reflective questions for you guys to fuel your brain. What is your goal today? Give me three things that you accomplished in the morning. What did you eat for lunch? What did it look like, smell like, felt like, taste like? Since I became a mom and also I work full time, I feel like I can't really sit down for lunch. So anything that's like snack related, like hummus with pretzel chips, is really good because it's quick and easy. And also, I feel like, I could just always eat granola bars because I don't have to touch it. I don't have to wash my hand as much because when you're a teacher, you're always touching everything. Movement breaks. Did you guys take a walk today? Did you take a few breaths? I practice yoga daily. So, what did you do to exercise and do that? Afternoon, what three things did you accomplish? And it doesn't have to be academic related, it could be, fun social things related. The best part of my day was today I feel grateful for, and tomorrow I am looking forward to. Then what I want you guys to do is if you can find a empty space on your guided notes, I'm gonna have you guys draw an outline of your face. This will be me if I was a man, I guess. That looks more like a guy. Then I want you guys to draw your brain. And we're gonna split it in two pieces. That sounds a little bit morbid, but that's okay. On the top part, I want you guys to write down what worries you. For me, I guess it's, in case my kids are going to get hurt or they're in danger somehow. My daughter loves climbing our spiral staircase, not from the inside of the staircase, but from the outside beam of the staircase. And one time I was doing dishes and I hear her like, in distress. And I'm like, what are you doing, Emma? I walk over there. She was literally like 5, 6 feet above my head, hanging off the ledge of the staircase on the outside. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, thank goodness I was there in person because if I didn't, you would literally tumble down 6 feet down to the carpet. I guess another part of me is I do worry about my students, how they're doing. This is a really difficult time for everyone, especially if you're a student and, school for a lot of our students are consistent and this year is anything but consistent. So that also worries about me about how they're doing with their home life, especially if one of their parents is in healthcare or they're an essential worker. On another note, are you satisfied with? All right, you guys, I hope that's helped. I hope to see you guys next time. And as always, stay safe and healthy and have a good day.